Hey everybody, on this episode of Coonhound Garage, we're going to be looking at this 1970 CST 350 pickup truck, purchased in Palm Beach, Florida, driven down to Key West, then all the way back up to Michigan. It's one hell of a ride, one beautiful truck. So glad to have you along for this one. About a half-hour ride, and you'll now know what I know about this truck and its trials and tribulations for a 2,000-mile journey. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Alright, so what we have here, Chevrolet pickup truck, 1970, 350 motor in it. I picked it up in Palm Beach, headed down to the Keys, spent the night in the Keys. I'm headed up Florida. This is headed to Detroit. A couple problems I already run into. The fuel fill hose from the side of the truck to the tank. It's dry rotted, leaks pretty good, so you lose about a gallon every time you try filling it up at least. But other than that, she's been pretty good. Electrical went out on me last night on the side of the road. I was lucky. I was just a couple miles away from an exit, so after I couldn't get that to come back on, I made it to an exit, went out, got an alternator this morning. After driving another hour, it seems the battery's picked back up in voltage. Thank God for Uber. I was able to not only get to a hotel last night, but I was able to get over to Walmart, buy a $300 crash kit of anything I could think of that I was going to possibly need on this trip. Napa helped me out this morning, got me another alternator, which I put in, and a new belt. And of course, when you hand tighten these after you run a few 100 miles, the belt starts wearing a little bit, it's starting to slip. So I'm now up Schitt's Creek because all I have is a little Walmart kit that doesn't really have anything to put some tension on this. So what I was thinking is, what do I have on me that I can use? And what I've come up with is my belt. So what I'm going to try and do is wrap this belt around the alternator, try and make a strap wrench out of it that I can pull on, because this sucker is hot right now. And I will pop another video back on and see if this works once I get it around there. Okay, so what I did, I wrapped that belt around the alternator, and you can see the witness mark of where the alternator was. I got it about another bolt spacing out of it, which, was running good, and then it would start to slip. I'd push the clutch in, it would stop slipping, but man, I was able to really get, once that locked down, you get that locked down on there, and that leather strap was enough to put some pretty good tension on it. So provided I get back out on the road, and tighten that bottom bolt down again, loosen that to make sure the alternator could spin freely as I did this. So we'll tighten that back up. Help the friction will just help hold it still and straight also. Give that top bolt a little more friction. Put my belt back on so I don't lose my britches. Ta-da, there we go. So I don't know why I didn't start making videos of this thing from the beginning, because this is going to be one hell of a ride. I mean, I'm impressed with her, how far she's gone so far. We did get her up on the hoist last night, and it's 52 years old. I'm not going to kid you. This thing's got some age on it, but man, this frame is spotless. There's a bit of rust on it. Tires, we did see, are severely dry rotted, so I am probably going to run into trouble with that. I have about another 1,300 miles to go. I've already done over 800 in her, and just cruising 55, keep it slow, keep it steady. But man, she's doing pretty good. We started, I don't know, 40 something 100 miles on it. We're at 55.28 now. That's on, the speedometer's on, it works. The gas gauge is suspect at best. If it gets low enough, it'll pop up and let you know that you're about out of gas. Other than that, it doesn't really like to work. It seems to be the original 350 in it, and that's what she came with. And pretty clean truck. I mean, somebody's been doing some kind of work to it over the years, put a little more paint on it. Not the best paint job, a little bit of work here and there, but I didn't buy it for that. I bought it to enjoy. So overall, she's been a good truck so far. Engine rides like a dream, runs like a dream. You just touch the key and she purrs. Lots of power in her, and it's gonna be a good trip. So I'll be back with the next one because we know it's coming with 1,300 miles to go. All right, 1,135 miles to go. She's riding like a dream. Alternator seems to be holding good in the heat and stretching out. Hasn't started squealing at all on me anymore. I think we'll probably be good for the remainder. If not, we'll pull out our strap wrench and we'll hit it again. About 950 miles to go to home in Michigan. Hitting the Florida-Georgia line. Last couple hundred miles have been good, not bad. Everything seems to be okay, just keeping it 55. 55 seems to be the magic number. Everything goes very smoothly. So hopefully we can keep that up for another 950 some miles. She's going good though. 52 years old. Alright, so I do have to say that driving this truck, you ain't gonna fall asleep. It has nothing to do with the wind because there's no AC and it's freaking hot. We're in Georgia now. It's hot. The sun's beating down. I had to put a freaking UV block shirt on because this arm is getting absolutely fried hanging out the window, and I'm sick of trying to hide it down inside the truck. Now you're not gonna fall asleep because it's loud. You're not gonna fall asleep because it's windy. It rides smooth. You don't have to hold the steering wheel. This thing rides straight as a tack. No problems whatsoever. Look how smooth that thing is for 52 years old. It's beautiful. You're not going to fall asleep in this truck because damn near everybody that passes you by honks their horn when they get right to your door with your window open, including semi-trucks. And they don't just honk once. They honk several times, or they lay on it until they've passed you. So you can drive this truck all day and all night. You will never fall asleep. Man, she's a fun ride. 890 miles to home. Everything's doing well. The truck seems to be going good. I got to keep slowing myself down. You know by the sound, it gets a little high. So I did this once before. You know, stupidly drove an old ass vehicle over 1,000 miles. I was 18. My 1985 CJ7 had the straight six in it. At the time it had 80,000 miles on it. I just put a lift kit on it. Made it all the way down to Georgia. Radiator fell out of the brackets, hit the fan. Stuck in Georgia for a day. I patched it up with some JB Weld, got it down to Florida. At the time, that vehicle was 20-some years old, and that was 20-some years ago, 21 years ago, actually right now. That vehicle's up next. That one's gonna go for a ride. This time it's getting an overhaul. It's already up on the lift in the garage. I left it at home when I came to get this one. It's gonna be an adventure. It's gonna be fun. It's always a fun adventure. Even when you break down, it's part of the adventure. Man versus truck. Man versus car. What can you do to keep on going? I gotta say it's a little easier now that I'm an adult. Have a little more education behind me in cars. A little more wizardry when it comes to getting something done without having the right tools. Although last time I remember changing U-joints on the front bumper of the Jeep with a hammer and a socket. I ended up driving from Gainesville, Florida all the way back to Kentucky on just the front wheel drive because I couldn't keep the rear drive shaft in it because it was so bad and bent and wobbly. The front one was bent and it just kept going. It wanted to go home. But it made a lasting memory. A lasting memory. Last time Dad, he came and bailed me out. we ended up hauling it back the last bit. I was exhausted. I was tired. I drove in like 26 hours that day, and all I got was from Gainesville to Kentucky. Hopefully today's different. This trip's going to be different. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Check back in a bit. Alright, looks like I should have a minute before another semi-truck comes passing by. Just had to share this. Just stopped, I don't know, 20 minutes ago or so. Did the fuel economy on this thing. 1970 original 350. It's a 350 cubic inch small block motor, 4-barrel carb. Care to guess what the mileage is on that? Because at this moment, my mind is blown. Not only does my fuel filler hose still leak because it's rotted out, so I lose at least a half a gallon on the ground when it hits full and then leaks a little bit out, and then I take a turn or hit the gas to get back to the highway. But the fuel economy for the last tank didn't drop. 14.4 miles per gallon. People, this only means one thing. Y'all need to slow the hell down. If y'all slow down to 55, your fuel economy is going to go through the roof, especially with a more fuel efficient vehicle out there. I can't believe it. I thought I was going to get 10. I was not paying attention on purpose because honestly, I thought it could be as low as 7. I had no idea what this thing. It's a 2-speed. It's really a 4-speed. First gear, creeper gear. Doesn't go anywhere. Second gear, pretty much double a creeper gear. Still doesn't go anywhere. Third gear takes you off the line, and it's like a nowadays first gear in a vehicle. And fourth gear is pretty much your power band. So you can do 70, 80 miles an hour in this truck. I've had it over 70. I've heard that these do go over 100 miles per hour if you push them off a cliff. But I'm not trying that one, seeing as how I just got this truck, so we're going to let it be as is. 14.4 miles per gallon on a 52-year-old motor. I'm amazed. Alright, y'all, heading into the mountains, and it's getting to be dark time, so catch you on the flip side. So we just flipped 5,888 miles on the odometer, 791 miles away from home. Everything's still running smooth as can be. I do have to say, I wanted to, throw a shout out to the Top Gear USA crew and team and everything else. Man, I love watching those shows, watching them do this, grab an old truck, drive it across the country, do something crazy with it. It really took me back to that first time that I did it, because it was always a dream of mine. I do have to say, it's a little bit different when you don't have a support crew behind you, or in front of you, or 1,000 cameras taking better angles. But it's fun nonetheless. If you've never done it, I highly suggest go out. Buy an old truck. Buy an old car. Buy something you don't trust, you don't know. This one was a lot more expensive than the first vehicle I did it in. The first Jeep was only $4,000 when I bought it. And that was kind of insane. This one cost considerably more than that, but I trust it just as little. But she is doing good so far, so hopefully we keep going that way. Check in a bit. Alright, change of clothes, we're in the mountains, it's getting colder. We're 3 miles from the state line from Tennessee. Everything's still running good, lights are all working. Seems like we fixed all of our power issues. Change of clothes, a little chilly in that little lodge. And the windows are probably going to be going up pretty soon. Chill. So today we had some pretty good rains coming through this morning. I've been hanging out for an extra hour or two waiting for it to stop. It looks like it's starting to let up, almost done. But I figured, while I've got a minute, I'd go over the crash kit I was talking about. So the other night when the alternator went out, I went over to Walmart and raided their automotive tool section aisle. So the things that are in this kit are not necessarily fix all, bend all by all means, but it's kind of just a quick diagnostic tools kit to help you out in a pinch. It's not going to fix a flat tire. It's not going to fix a U-joint on your drive shaft. If you lose that, you're screwed. You're calling a tow truck anyway. But here are the things that when I walked through, I saw that stuck out to me that can happen on this trip, and that's what I'm going to pick up. So first thing first, we have the jump box. EverStart Max. I needed this. The battery was dead by the time I got the truck to the hotel. It also has an air compressor in there if you do start to get a low tire. It works really well. I will say that they don't tell you on the box that the only way to plug this battery pack in and charge it is to have an extension cord. Can't plug it into a wall. It doesn't have a cord coming off it for the 110. So props to the people at the Comfort Inn down near Tampa that let me use their breakfast station. And I used one of their extension cords for their crock pot in order to plug that in for the night, so I had it charged in the morning. Multi-use transfer pump. I've got the fuel issue. I figured this way I can siphon it easily out of a can. I also bought a 5-gallon can. It's in the back of the truck full of gas. That way you can siphon it up out of the can into the truck. Multi-use. 52-year-old car. Yeah, extinguisher's probably not a bad idea to have on hand. Another siphon pump, just in case, never know. Fuel pump goes out. You can siphon some gas into the reservoir of the windshield washer solvent. You suck the solvent out, put the gas in there, put your windshield solvent tube down into the carburetor, hit your windshield juice, and you can creep along enough to get off the road or out of danger if needed. All right, on to the little $40 kit. I bought this one because it had just enough to kind of do what I needed the other night, other than the fact that it didn't have a 1/2-inch socket. It only went down to 9/16, but it was metric. It wasn't metric. It was standard. 52-year-old car. There are no metric bolts, so that should have been a safe bet. Would have been nice to have a 1/2-inch on there. We don't need all the way up to 3/4 or whatever they've got in there. They should have put one smaller in there. 1/2-inch is really common on older cars. This is specifically supposed to be for cars, so I got away with it with the crescent wrench. It worked well enough to tighten the alternator. I didn't have another problem with it yesterday. It might be interesting today now that it's raining, but you also have a tire plug kit in here. So between that and the compressor, if you just get a nail or something like that, you've also got a pair of vice grips to pull a nail out. It's a good little kit to have. A little pricey at $40 at Walmart, but in a pinch, are you really going to complain about it? It's worth its weight in gold. Next thing, booster cables. Yeah, I know, it's redundant, but what if that's dead and you're down to relying on somebody else? You can always take them back. Don't use them, take them home, take them to the next Walmart, take it back. Electrical tape, never a bad idea. Road flares, also never a bad idea. You get stuck in the middle of the night. Zip ties. Actually, I use these to strap up the fuel tanks in the back of the truck so they don't dump over. They're good for everything. Anything and everything. End connectors for wires and a crimping tool. It's a must-have on an old car. Stuff wiggles loose, stuff rots out, stuff comes apart all the time. Circuit tester. If you need to find power, to put power somewhere, it's a lot easier if you have a circuit tester. You put the one into the negative, you put the other to the wire. If it goes green, it tells you that it's a ground. If it goes red, the little LED light in there, it tells you that it's a hot wire. If you need to splice in, you need to make something happen, easy way to do it. Spool of wire, primary wire. That way, turn signals go out, anything goes out, you should be able to do something with it. And between this and the connectors there, you should be able to splice something in, get around something. Next we have fuse kit. Old car, old fuses. Just a generic kit, gives you one of everything so that you can hopefully get by if something blows, find the problem first. Battery voltage tester. This thing I'm not impressed with. My voltmeter says I'm at 14 point something, and that light on the 14.5 doesn't light up. So it does tell you it's at 13.2, and it will tell you if it drops off. But this thing was, I don't know how much, probably $7 or $8, and not impressed with it. My voltmeter that I left on last night, that's awesome, because I was checking my voltage again when I turned my headlights on. Ever start. So same company as that. Right? We had the problem charging on that. They don't tell you need an extension cord to go with it. The EverStart meter here, yeah, it's cheap. It's only like $8. But they don't put the battery in for you. It's a 9-volt battery, and you need a Phillips screwdriver with a really long, tiny little shaft on it, like a little electronics one. Dude, come on. Make them easy to get into. Have the screws flush with the back, or just don't do it at all. Put the damn battery in it. Who cares? It's a 9-volt. It'll last for several years. All right, and a set of gator clips. Just in case you need to jump something, you need to test something. You never know, they come in handy. You need to hold something. Hold two things together. Solder them up, whatever you're doing. That primary wire, I was going to say, it can also be used, even if you lose your main wire to your starter. You take enough of these, take 10 strands, strip them, put them together, you now have a primary wire. You can take that 18 gauge wire and make it up to where you can start the car if you had to, if you were in a pinch, or, you know, anything. This stuff goes a long way. So there's my crash kit. It's gotten me along so far. It's gotten me jumped. It's gotten me to the auto parts store. It's gotten me fixed. Whatever I don't use can go back. Don't need to keep it because I have absolutely everything at home I could ever need. Only problem is when you fly in to pick up a truck, you don't really have an option to get stuff. So there's the crash kit. Like I said, it's looking better out there now. Sun's coming out, hopefully, in the next few minutes, and I will be headed north now that all the oil's off the road and the massive puddles have probably all gone away, and I can see some nice mountains in the truck. Waffle House. 585 miles to home. Truck's still running good. Going through the beautiful Rocky Mountains in Tennessee. Very cold today. Don't know what temperature it is other than cold. So the heat in the truck works beautifully. Even with the back window open for a little ventilation and to stop the tin can feel in here, because it is kind of loud. It's not one of today's vehicles. It's a 52-year-old pickup truck, but it's not unbearable. It's a soothing sound. You can definitely still go to sleep in here, no problem, other than the honking, as we discussed earlier. But yep, she's running good. Yeehaw! Coming from Kentucky, we got about 400 miles to go. Heater's still working good. Everything's working all right. Last rest area did seem to smell some oil, gear lube, something of some sort. Nothing visual, nothing catastrophic, so she seems to be going all right. Beautiful country through here. I'm so glad I stopped tonight so that I can see this during the daytime. It changes your world. Driving through here in the daytime. At night you miss everything. All you see are two lines on the road and nothing else. It's been a good trip. Alright, 257 miles to go. We made it into Cincinnati. Recent events. We have some mystery oil underneath the hood. We don't know how it got where it got. Don't know where it came from. Smelling it here and there a little bit. Smelling some gear lube when I stop. But all in all, seems to still be driving okay. We got a little pressure, there's oil in the dipstick. We're gonna keep going until something bad happens. We're in Ohio now. I don't know if I told you that. You obviously can't smell what I smell, but I smell Ohio, and we're gonna head north to try and get out of it. We're down to 200 miles to go. Truck's still running good, can't complain. Doesn't seem to have any other issues or problems going on at the moment. I just need to record this one as we're going through the Ohio Valley because the sun's about to go down and I'm going to lose my light. So I wanted to do this in person or some other time or whatever, but it's just going to work better if it's done like this. Time allotment, editing, time I get in, time of day anyway, or night, or morning. So a lot of people know the story of this truck. There's one person that doesn't know the entire story or why this truck. I found this truck online several months ago when I was working in Tennessee, and I've been eyeballing it ever since. You see, when I was real little, like 5, I started working in the garage with my old man, doing brake jobs and whatever else he was getting into in the garage. That's where I learned my affinity, love, whatever, of cars. My dad used to tell me about his first truck. Now this isn't the exact truck, and I'm sure it's not in the exact condition, but he would tell me about that Chevrolet pickup truck that he bought and how much he loved that truck. And he told me about it numerous times, and I vividly remember it was at the house on Old Bridge, in the garage working with him. I was probably maybe 9 or 10 at the time. And I remember stopping after he told me about that truck and he walked away, and I'm sitting there staring at his toolbox. And I thought, no matter what I do in life, no matter what job I have to have a job that one day is going to allow me to get my dad that truck. Now, I love this truck, and I'm not saying I'm not going to borrow it, but Dad, this truck's for you. I've waited my whole life to give you this truck. 30 years I've been waiting, and it's on my bucket list. I'm taking off the bucket list. Bought, paid for, delivered. I earned this truck to give to you. So thank you for everything you have ever done for me, because you're always there. No matter when I need you, drop of a hat, you will drop anything to come get me. So come help me with whatever I'm doing. Even if you're not even able, you're still there to help. You're there to listen. You don't give much advice, but that's your style. I get it. You'll listen to a bitch, and you know what? Sometimes that's all that's needed. But thank you for being the best dad ever. I love you. And I hope you enjoy your new truck. All right, Pop. Well, hate to tell you like this, but you kind of got to hear the next part of this story, which accidentally happened after I recorded that last message last night. So I'm going to say sorry, but you kind of got to fix your truck. Well, it's 11:50 at night. I don't know, 40 minutes from home or so. And, of course, Michigan fucking road, some asshole left some metal sitting out in the middle of the road. As I came around the on-ramp from one freeway to another, I couldn't miss it. I hit it. Thought I lacerated a tire or something. I don't know how that went out. But seems as though we hit a brake line, because the whole inside of the wheel well and everything looks like brake fluid all over the damn place. So of course, get this close to home. Should have pulled over, not tried to push it through the night. And here I was worried about hitting a deer, not a damn piece of metal in the middle of the road. But brakes are overrated. Nobody else is on the road. We got a manual. And we've got an e-brake that works-ish. We'll be all right. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. Let's finish this up. All right, for everybody else out there, thanks for tuning in, getting through this kind of long program. Look for an update. There's gonna be a part 2 where I'm gonna add on Dad's reaction to watching the video, which I'm about to go film. So I'm really excited for that. Don't forget, like and subscribe if you want to see more from Coonhound Garage. I've got some other videos already in the works. And I think the next truck is going to have to be a El Camino. Same deal. Let's see how far we can drive these things across the country. It's a blast. I suggest you get out there and do it. Catch you next time.